Can you imagine a place of perfect peace and tranquility? No crime, no lies, no violence, no pain, no suffering, no sickness. And then war. Yes, war. The Bible states in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 7, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels." Yes, there was war in heaven. And it all began when one angel rebelled. Hello, I'm Sickness, and this is From Health to Sickness.
Oh, whoa, hold up. Wait a minute, I think I'll take it from here. I'm your host, Rico Hill, and welcome to From Sickness to Health, because we want to take people from a life of sickness to a life of health, not the other way around. So why don't we just go ahead and begin the program?
What if I don't want to get the program started?
Okay, what's the problem?
Well, maybe the people think I can do a better job. Ever consider that people might enjoy me? Hey, and they enjoy being sick, and therefore want me to be the host of From Health to Sickness. I mean, people are born pretty healthy, and then they choose to follow a life of sickness.
That is ridiculous.
Is it? The leading cause of death these days is heart disease. Diabetes is rapidly climbing. And just in a few short years, cancer will overtake heart disease. Doesn't this tell you something?
Oh yes, it tells me that we don't have much time to lose, and we have to stop the rebellion.
What rebellion?
Cancer. It all begins when cells rebel and begin to do their own thing. Today's topic is one that is a serious one, that is affecting and devastating the lives of millions. Let's begin the program. Roll it. Thank you so much for joining us here in the studio of From Sickness to Health. Today we are talking about this topic, cancer. In 2013, we found that there were over 1.5 million new cases of cancer. In that same year, 500,000 people actually died from this disease. It is something that we need to talk about because right after, as you just heard, right after heart disease, cancer is the number two cause of death. So we're going to deal with the subject today, and we're going to bring in our panel of experts, and we're just going to dialogue about it and see if we can get some information out to you. But first, let's say hello to our co-host, Sickness. Where are you?
I'm not going to tell you. It's top secret. And I'm not just stopping at the body. I'm going to overthrow the government. Rebellion, baby.
All right. He's ambitious, isn't he?
He sure is.
Yeah. Well, today, joining us on the program to make some sense of all of this and see if we can stop the rebellion, we have with us Dr. Yvonne Lewis, who is a doctor, a naturopathic doctor. I'm sorry, I kind of stumbled out a little bit, but you are also the general manager of this network, and we thank you for being here with us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Promising not to stumble over your name, Dr. Thomas Jackson. Welcome to the program. Dr. Thomas Jackson is a doctor of natural health sciences, and he's also the head of a ministry called MEET, that's M-E-E-T, ministry in Huntington, Tennessee. He's joined by his lovely wife, Dr. Laverne Jackson, who's a doctor of nutritional sciences. Welcome, both of you, to the program.
It's glad to be here.
Now, I just want, before you get into this topic of cancer, because I know you've dealt with it a lot, quite a bit, in fact, down at your facility there at MEET Ministry. Can you tell us a little bit about MEET Ministry?
Yes, MEET Ministry is a multifaceted ministry, which is located in Huntington, Tennessee, which is the western part of Tennessee. And when I say multifaceted, one of the things we do there, we do have a lifestyle center or sanitarium where people come with chronic degenerative diseases.
Including cancer.
And 80% of those who come to our facilities are cancer cases. And they come in the 3rd and 4th stages. They don't come in the primary stages. They come the 3rd, 4th. Some come with a death sentence already written over their name, given 2-3 days to live. And so as we speak, you know, we find ourselves constantly working with people of that nature. We welcome cases with diabetes and high blood pressure, but cancer, as I was mentioned, there's over 250 different types, and we get all types of cancer. And so also we train gospel medical missionaries to become equipped to know how to reach the world with this information. And that's part of Meet Ministry, along with the publishing and the agriculture and evangelistic meetings.
And by the way, that is MEET, M-E-E-T. What does that stand for, Dr. Jackson?
That stands for Missionary Education and Evangelistic Training. And we want to prepare people to meet their God.
Amen, amen. And I know that your lovely wife works right alongside with
my bride from my side.
Yes, 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 yes. So we see some startling statistics. You even talk about some right there in your own work there at the Lifestyle Center. You have people, 80% of them.
80% of the people that come to that facility are cancer cases.
Now, is there a ethnic breakdown of, is it mostly African American? Is it mostly Caucasian? What are you seeing?
We do get a mixture. We do get quite a mixture, and believe it or not, it's almost equally distributed here. But we do find that cancer is definitely have increased among the African American population within the world. 32% of all cancer are African Americans, and so therefore we do find a lot of African Americans patronizing the facility, which we do not want them to, but we are there to help them.
Amen.
Yeah.
So cancer does not really discriminate, does it?
Cancer is colorblind.
Doesn't care your color, your background,
or age,
or your economic status.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So one thing about disease, it doesn't ask how much money you have, what ethnic background, or even what faith you're into.
Now, from spending a lot of time with you all here on this panel, I've learned that the Bible is our help, is our hope. It helps us to know and understand how to even deal with disease. And we find in Proverbs 26 and verse 2, it says, the curse or the disease causeless shall not come. In other words, you won't just get a disease for no cause.
That's right.
In other words, a disease doesn't walk into this studio and look over this panel and say, let's see, who should I pick?
That's right.
It doesn't do that, does it?
No.
Never.
Right.
In other words, it comes and you have to do something. In other words, you have to invite
it. That's right.
disease in.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So we want to give the people some help and some hope today,
True.
so that the invitation is no longer extended
Exactly.
to those.
You have to create an internal environment that is unfriendly to cancer. And what we tend to do...
Can you please say that again?
Yeah.
That is so profound.
We have to create an internal environment that is unfriendly to cancer.
I'm going to ask you to break that down and then continue your thought, because
Well,
that's a powerful thought.
If you think about a fungus, right, it requires darkness, it requires moisture and heat, right, warmth. Cancer requires sugar, right? It requires an imbalance of your pH.
Yeah, a very
right?
acid
An
environment.
acid environment. It can't survive in a more alkaline environment. It requires toxicity, so toxic substances being taken in. These are things, these are ways that we can create. If we get to those issues, we can make the internal environment unfriendly for its proliferation.
Wow, that's excellent. An excellent thought. So you talked about sugar is an invitation. High acidity is an invitation.
And where do we get that from?
We get them from foods. So if you're eating a food that is high in sugar, that is highly acidic, if you're eating a food that is that is causing you to feel stress, oxidative stress.
That's right.
It's an environment that has been created for cancer to thrive.
That's
Also, cancer can't really thrive in a highly oxygenated environment, can it?
That's right.
That's right.
So in other words, if you've got oxygen going to the cells,
There's no way.
you're out in the fresh air.
Because cancer cells are anaerobic, low oxygen.
Low oxygen.
That's right. And there's ways that we can depreciate our oxygen. It's just like, you know, oxygen to our lungs is like prayer to our soul. In order for the cells to thrive, they must breathe. In order for us to thrive spiritually, we must pray. And so we can decrease that oxygen through some of the foods we talked about. Sugar decreases oxygen. Lack of exercise decreases oxygen. Stress decreases oxygen.
That's right.
Fat, fried foods decreases oxygen.
And especially your animal foods are more susceptible to carrying bacteria, fungus, you know, and so it's a predisposition for these cancer cells to thrive.
Those rebel cells, see, rebel cells, as I mentioned, rebellion, they need an environment.
They need an environment. First, they need an invitation.
They need invitation.
Then they need the environment.
They need environment to proliferate, to maintain their rebellious spirit.
And they say that sugar is a big culprit because it feathers the nest.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It feathers
Cancer
the nest.
loves sugar.
Yes.
It loves it. It eats it. It will say,
Thrives.
give me some of that nutrition. Give me that glucose.
It feeds on it.
Yes,
And that sugar also is an immunosuppressive.
That's right.
Yes.
So not only do you have that sugar feeding the cancer, but you have it suppressing the immune system.
So,
That's a
in
double
other
whammy.
words,
A double whammy.
in other words, you're saying here that when you're taking the sugar, you are depleting the body's ability to fight by
That's right.
suppressing the immune system. The body begins to fight, or the immune system fights the sugar rather than some
That's right.
uninvited or something that should not have been invited into the body. Now,
Right.
I want to get some more perspective on this. We're going to go to Sickness. He's got something, I think, in some laboratory, I think. He doesn't tell me want to tell me where he is today, but let's see if we can get the rebellion out of him. Sickness, where are you?
Hey Rico, thanks for joining my class today at the local university. Prepare to be schooled. You see, today in this lab, it is the best place to understand this health issue, cancer. Because you see, you look all around and there's life. And viruses and bacteria, fungus and germs. Essentially, cancer is a germ. And what's amazing is we can look at its behavior under a microscope. Hey there, little buddies. You know, here's the fascinating thing about it. The fascinating thing is cancer can actually be turned on and off, the genes themselves, with something all of us enjoy, food. You see, some foods cause cancer cells to flourish and grow. You'd consider these bad foods. Other foods attack those cells and make sure the cancer genes are off, like fruits and vegetables. So yeah, naturally the body has cells that they die and they're recycled and the body creates more. But not so with cancer cells. Cancer cells, they just want to live. It's like a light switch. You can turn them on and off depending on what you're eating. Let's take, for instance, animal protein. Animal protein in foods like dairy and meat, this turns the cancer gene on, and you remove it from the diet and the cancer gene is turned off. You can turn it on and you can turn it off. It's absolutely amazing. But here, our motto is, you shall not surely die. So class, let's say it together. When I say die, you say no. Die! No! Die! No! Total rebellion here, Rico. Back to you. Die! No! Die! No!
Now, while he may have sparked a rebellion, he was right about a few things there.
Yes, he was.
He was right about a few things, and he talked about the fact that you can turn cancer's genes on and you can turn them off. Now, he was quoting from a landmark study, which was the China study, which was done by T. Colin Campbell. And they found in that study, that very large scientific study, some 800 million Chinese people and it saw that when they introduced high protein from an animal source, that cancer genes were turned on. And when they took it out of the diet, it was turned off. This speaks of epigenetics.
That's right.
Where the genes will express themselves based on the environment and what we're inviting in, as we talked about, and how we have created an environment for them to thrive.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's right.
Now, Dr. Jackson, let's be very specific. What is cancer? What are we talking about? You mentioned there are over 200 some different
250 different types of cancer.
What is it, though, down at the cellular level? What's happening?
Well, we're talking about, just the word cancer itself is a misnomer. That means when you look at the word, just the word cancer, that word really does not describe the condition. And that name came into existence as before the turn of the century, probably 1700, even down to the times of the Egyptians, when they saw these little mutated cells. We're talking about the cellular level. They look like a crab. That's what they look like, a crab with little tentacles with a center, with a little center in the very core nucleus of it, like little crabs. So the word cancer was attached to this disease, because the word cancer, from the horoscope, the symbol is crab. In German, it's Kreb, K-R-E-B, crab. So it looked like a crab, cancer, crab. But the true name for cancer is neoplasma. Neoplasm, new growth.
New growth.
That's when we talk about going to the oncologist, he will tell you it's neoplasma. So the word cancer now has been attached to it. So what it is. Now, the Bible says in the book of Jeremiah 31:33 that God going to put his law within our inward parts. Now, when I look at that law, that's the law of the DNA. So the DNA is one law that governs every cell in the body. Okay? In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, it says there's a time for everything. So the DNA tells every cell when to divide and not to divide. So the DNA controls the whole mechanism of the body at a cellular level. Are you following me? And so we find them, we all are bombarded with cancer cells, 10,000, thousands of them a day. So the DNA is said, okay, nose cell, it's time to stop. You're already where you should be. Eye cell. So it controls the whole mechanism of the body. So in order for cancer cells, as sickness says, to exist and to rebel, it must rebel against the law of the DNA. And so the DNA then has to be altered. It has to be changed. Times and law must be changed. So therefore, something must happen at the DNA level of the cell and for a cancer cell to exist. And as it multiplies, it begins to metastasize because it rebels against the law of the DNA. So the only reason cancer cell can exist, something must happen at the DNA level. The DNA must be altered.
Wow.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand it. I want to make sure they understand it.
Yeah.
So what has just been explained to us in such beautiful fashion and in such a practical way is that inside the human body is found the law in the DNA. God has placed it there.
Amen.
How this body is to function at a physiological level. It is to function according to the law.
To the law.
And that law dictates to every cell in the body.
That's right.
We're talking about lung cells,
That's right.
kidney cells. We're talking about your liver cells. All of these are taking their cue from the DNA.
And not to hold you, but every cell does not have a different DNA law. It's only one law.
One law
that governs the whole body.
Come on.
That's powerful.
One law.
One law.
That's very important to understand.
And then, but in order, this was a critical point. In order for this whole rebellion to take place, you have to change the law. Certain foods like genetically modified organisms, sometimes flesh foods, toxicity in the foods, these things go in and they change us at the DNA level.
It pollutes the law, just like the sanctuary. The temple sanctuary represents the body. So sin comes in and pollutes it. So as we bring these sugars, these fatty foods, the toxicity, we are polluting the sanctuary, affecting the law
of the DNA.
Rico, can I say something, please?
It must be altered.
Wow.
But so once we understand that, we can understand how we can prevent it and reverse it.
Let's hear what the Rebel Cell has to say.
it.
The Rebel Cell. Yes, yes. What do you have for us?
I believe there just needs to be some clearing up here. The sun, that causes cancer. You know, other things cause cancer. Cancer is random. And hey, if you get cancer, you treat it with chemicals. This is the 21st century. Let's stop scaring people. We have drugs to cure cancer.
Again, I'm going to have to say a no on that. He said the sun causes cancer. We find that the sun was given for a lot of reasons, but not to cause cancer.
Not to cause cancer.
And people are afraid of the sun. We covered that in another program where we talked about how the sun is our friend, not an enemy.
That's right.
It's only an enemy when we actually, and again, it comes back to high-fat foods.
That's right.
When you have that in your diet, then the sun becomes an enemy. But if you have a good diet, you'll find that the sun is your friend. And it does a whole lot of things just to promote health rather than to take away health. But we want to show a video. I want to bring in a news clip that talks, because we need to transition a little bit in the time we have left, and we want to get to what helps to promote a good environment and will be an invitation that is extended to health and not sickness.
Good.
Yes,
So let's take a video, look at this video.
Cancer is a group of over 100 diseases characterized by abnormal, uncontrolled cell growth. In a healthy body, cells grow, die, and are replaced in a very controlled way. Damage or change in the genetic material of cells by environmental or internal factors sometimes results in cells that do not die and continue to multiply until a mass of cancer cells or a tumor develops.
We're starting with the promise of food as medicine. You have the power to help prevent cancer. That is an absolute truism. The solution lies in your supermarket. Today I'm revealing 4 of the best cancer-fighting foods out there. Dr. Will Clower is a nutritionist and founder of the Mediterranean Wellness Initiative. He's going to help us out. Let me just ask the big question for everybody. Yeah. We spend literally billions of dollars researching cancer solutions. Yeah. Yet you're making the argument that food could be as powerful as a tool to prevent cancer. Why should folks believe that?
Well, all of these foods that we're going to be talking about are backed up by solid research showing that when you consume them, you can not only slow the growth of cancer, but you can also prevent the onset at the beginning.
I'm going to go through the hard science on this, but I want you to remember what the action steps are, the takeaways are. So the first cancer-fighting food are collard greens, which you've all heard about. But why are collard greens so important in fighting cancer?
Well, people spend a lot of money on detox your body, this and that. You know what? Do you want to detox your body? Collards. If you have a tumor, it needs nutrients to grow.
So we see here from the clip, the news clip, that there's agreement with us. We talked about that environment. And now we want to sort of transition the discussion into how foods can be our best medicine, because sickness says, you know what? They've got drugs for that. They've got chemicals to treat that situation. But I believe, and I know that you all agree, God wants us to deal with the situation both from a preventative standpoint and as a therapeutic treatment standpoint by using these natural means.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Because this is what creates good blood, and we need the good blood to go to carry the oxygen and the nutrients to every cell so that the DNA is protected.
That's right. That's right.
Now, Dr. Lewis, I'm going to ask you, because on that news clip he mentioned collard greens, and we've got a leaf of collards here.
Yes.
Now, people out there saying, well, I eat collard greens all the time. Is it helping me?
Well, the key is, though, collard greens are wonderful, and it's amazing to me that historically we've used them in our diets as African Americans. But it's what we've added. It's collards with carcinogens.
Carcinogens in the collards.
Carcinogens.
Did you hear that?
In the collards.
Carcinogens in the collards.
Fatback. Ham hocks.
And those things are law-changing.
Law change.
I hope you're still tracking this, Dr.
It alters the DNA.
Yes.
It alters the DNA. So we see that these things are altering the law that dictates how these cells are to behave.
That's right. That's right. Because as she mentioned, the carcinogens and collards, if we can remove that, and you just take garlic. I mean, we eat a lot of garlic. Garlic contains a compound called sulfur, which helps to repair the DNA. And so just continue to add your garlic to your collards and take away the ham hocks, and therefore you're going to improve the integrity of the law.
Right.
of the DNA.
Improve the integrity of the law.
You're not going to do away with the law. You're going to fulfill the law.
Now, Sister Jackson, you were pointing to something here.
Well, you can also use the eggplant in there for fat so that can enrich your taste in your collard greens.
Because we like that taste, that fat taste that's
We
in the
like
collards.
that. That's the satisfying taste.
But we need that natural fat.
Yes, this is natural fat. And then another food that is very, very beneficial for cancer is asparagus.
Yes.
Very, very good.
It has cancer-inhibited properties. Just, 4 tablespoons of pureed fresh asparagus will improve the function of every cell and protect that law of the DNA.
So we're going to have to have this panel back again, because the discussion feels like we're just getting started.
Yes.
And you're going to have to walk us through some of the other things that can be used to put in those collars, like leeks and things like that.
Oh, yes.
Maybe we'll talk about that on another program.
Yes.
I'm getting hungry over here.
Yes. It's lunchtime.
Well, we want you to be hungry for health.
Amen.
And that's why we bring in these wonderful panel of guests who are experts in their field and are helping people day in and day out to recover from this deadly disease, this rebellion, as it were. And if you know of someone, or maybe yourself, struggling with this issue, you're concerned about it, you have to reach out, and maybe you can contact Meet Ministry or contact this network and get more information. You don't have to struggle with this alone.
That's right.
That's right.
So tune in next time when we will be talking about something else that's going to promote health, that's going to deal with sickness, and we're going to thwart the rebellion.
That's right.
One person at a time. Be healthy. Sin, the cancer of the universe. It began with one rebel angel who made a decision to go contrary to God's will, His word, and His way. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. And since that event, from eternity past until now, the human race has been infected by this cancer as this rebel imposes his own sickness upon the world. Today, we have learned that cancer works in a similar fashion. It begins with a few rebellious cells that take and devour the nutrients that enter the body and uses it for its own growth until the life is choked out of the healthy cells. And oftentimes, unfortunately, the host eventually dies.
I can't help but think that somehow you may be talking about me.
Now, why would you think that?
I don't know. You got me thinking.
Well, we hope that you are thinking too. Well, that's our program for today. Just remember, 3 John 2, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health. I'm Rico Hill.
I'm Sickness.
Maranatha.
I think I taught them too well. When I say go, you say